Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and welcome back to the channel. We are talking start and sits for the wide receiver and tight end position to kind of give you some players that I love this week, some players I absolutely do not. So let's jump right into it. All right, so it is week 3 of the NFL, and I wanted to get you guys some start and sits for week 3 for the wide receiver and tight end position. Now, of course, this is going to be based off of full PPR and half PPR. If you're talking tight end premium, you're talking standard, things like that, hit me up in the comments to help you kind of figure those players out for this week. Now, we're going to start with the wide receiver position. I'm going to do a little bit of a different video this week. Didn't get a chance to do my full breakdown for each matchup, so I wanted to give you guys some players that I really like. Now let's talk week 2 though. You had some players that really had some standouts. You had players like Amon-Ra, 3 touchdowns. Malik Nabers went off, right? You had players like Dalton Kincaid have some good games. There are some players that I absolutely love, and of course when we're talking start and sits, players I'm going to mention on some of these are guys that you could possibly already feel good about, but maybe I want to give you a little bit more analysis on it. And of course, there are players like your obvious starts, like Jamar Chase, your Justin Jefferson, your Malik Nabers, CeeDee Lamb. Those players are absolutely going to start this week. No matter what the matchup is, you've got to put them in your lineup. Other players I really like this week is obvious are going to be Mike Evans, Puka Nacua, even Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra, obviously. Like those players you should obviously start this week. Now, jumping into the starts, players that maybe you're kind of on the fringe on, you're not really sure. At the wide receiver position, I love Odunze this week against the Dallas Cowboys. Let's be honest, Dallas' secondary is struggling. Odunze had an amazing week last week. And if you look at his stats, something that I thought would have been like a DJ Moore type of game, because I have DJ Moore in a few leagues. I like DJ Moore a lot, but you can tell that this offense is starting to change. And when you're looking at the wide receiver position, Odunze right now, based off of his stats from last week, is putting him in wide receiver top 5 category. He had 31 points last week. He had 7 receptions, 120 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. He's had a touchdown in week 1. Like, he has been amazing, and he's absolutely Caleb Williams' favorite target. Now playing against a Dallas defense that has just been horrendous against the pass. Like, wide receivers are absolutely scoring on them left and right, having an amazing time. And this could be even a game, maybe even Dallas allows DJ Moore to have a good one. So if you have DJ Moore, you're probably putting him in your lineup as well, because there's a lot of upside. And Dallas is giving up the second most points to wide receivers, only behind the New York Giants, which, speaking of the Giants, I love this matchup for Hollywood Brown. I know Hollywood Brown didn't have the game last week where week 1 he had a lot of targets and a lot of receptions. Didn't have a lot of yards, didn't really score, but I do believe this is a game he can score. I do believe this is a game he's going to get at least 8 targets his way, maybe get six receptions or so, but the volume is going to be there. I think the New York Giants offense can try to keep up. They've got an amazing star in Malik Nabers. Russell Wilson probably feels really good coming out of week 2 with that 450 plus, passing yard game. Chiefs defense is a lot better though than Dallas. So I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game. I do think this is going to be a game where it's going to be like 24-14 or something. It's a 10-point swing or something. Like, that's kind of where I feel. I don't think the Chiefs are going to let this game get away from them. I think their defense is just too good. But I do like Hollywood Brown as a nice little start this week. Now, back to the Dallas Cowboys and Bears game. I like George Pickens a lot this week. Obviously, you're going to start CeeDee Lamb, without a doubt. His player props, I think right now, is 86 yards. He's been on a tear. He's had 4 straight games of 100 plus receiving yards. You may want to put that over on that one. But I love George Pickens again this week. If you look at George Pickens, his growth, again, we're only talking 2 games. I get it. But the rapport is starting to build up a little bit with Dak Prescott and George Pickens. Last week, Pickens had a really good game. He was finally able to have some success. He put up 17 fantasy points. He had 9 targets. He had 5 receptions. That touchdown that helped to get the game close and obviously a chance for Dallas to win. I see this happening even more. And this is a game that I think both between Caleb Williams and Dak Prescott going to be a high-scoring game. I think both teams are going to be passing quite a bit. I think I could see anywhere from 9 to 12 targets towards George Pickens. I could see 10 to 12 targets for CeeDee Lamb. And again, George Pickens should absolutely be in your start. I would put him as a wide receiver too, with a wide receiver 1 upside. If you're maybe got him as your third, that's even better. If you have him as your flex and you got 2 other studs, absolutely great job for you this week. And the last player I want to mention is a nice start for the wide receiver position is Brian Thomas Jr. I get it. Man, it's a little bit of a risky start. The matchup, it's tough, right? The Texans are a tough defense. They've actually played really well against the pass. I think they're ranked in the top 15 or so. But they do allow some fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Okay. And when you look at I guess you would consider Brian Thomas their wide receiver 1, because right now Hunter is not it at this moment. They're not utilizing him like you would like to see. But if you're looking at what Houston has allowed, Houston has actually allowed 12 points last week to the wide receiver 1. They allowed 23 points to Puka Nacua week 1. So there's opportunities, don't get me wrong. And I think Brian Thomas has the chance to kind of come back. I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about him. I know a lot of people are nervous. Maybe you're putting him in your flex, right? Maybe you're unsure of where to put him, but I actually like this one. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to lean on Brian Thomas a lot this week, and I see a really good game coming out of him this way. Now, as far as the sits, these are guys I'm kind of nervous. I'm not sure they're going to be great performers. And even if they had a great week 2 or a quiet week 2, I'm still kind of nervous. Like Chris Olave, for example, he's targeted a lot. Don't get me wrong. And he's probably going to be targeted a lot in this one, but defense has done a pretty good job overall keeping him under, I think, 60 yards. Even though he's getting some receptions, he's getting that 10 to 11 points. Yeah, you could put Chris Olave in your flex, and if you're getting 12 points out of your flex, it's not horrible. But realistically, tough matchup for him. I don't like this matchup at all for Chris Olave, and I just don't trust Spencer Rattler enough to allow him to really shine. If Chris Olave was on a different team, yeah, you're putting him in your lineup. And then another player that was in that same draft class, Drake London, this one's making me really nervous. I was looking at the stats, and I was like, man, where the heck is Drake London this season? He's averaging 9 points a game. And it's crazy because coming off of last season, I know every season's different, but when you start to see a connection between Michael Penix and Drake London, there was a lot going on. Those last 3 games, Drake London was one of the top wide receivers in fantasy. Now, you may not even be starting him. I've sit him in a few leagues of mine because I thought, there's better matchups out there. I'd rather get the upside than the safer floor. Yeah, Drake London might have a safer floor than some players, but I am going to sit Drake London. I am nervous for this matchup for him. I do think this is going to be a running game between, Bijan absolutely tearing up the Carolina Panthers. And I think the Panthers are going to obviously try to keep up on their end, but I don't think this is a game for Drake London. Keenan Allen's another one I thought, I love what he's been able to do coming back to Los Angeles. I think the Chargers and him just match really well. Him and Herbert have a great connection, but this is a matchup and really a tough one that I feel for him. It's going to happen. I don't love the matchup that they have this week. I think it's going to be a matchup where I think maybe they try to run the ball a little bit more. Even though I'm not crazy about Hampton or Najee. But when you've got a player like Keenan Allen who does get plenty of targets, it's hard to sit him. Maybe you flex him out. But the matchups, if you're looking at the matchups themselves, I would kind of be nervous because you've got, between these two matchups of a rivalry, Surtain may dominate and keep Keenan Allen light. So again, a little nervous for that one. And the last player I'm going to mention is going to be Jacoby Myers. Yeah, he's going to get some targets. I don't trust Geno Smith right now. Geno Smith has not done well. And then if you look at their matchup, the Commanders have actually done pretty good, against the pass. They're actually the 4th least amount of points allowed to the wide receiver position. So again, I think this might actually be a lower scoring game. You got, Mariota in, Jaden Daniels is out. Geno Smith has not played great. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of passing. You might see Genty have a little bit better game, but for me, Jacoby Myers is just someone I'm going to sit on the sidelines. Now, jumping into the tight end position, you got some obvious starts, right? You got Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren I like, Sam LaPorta, Travis Kelce. Those are guys that I absolutely going to put in there. You can even maybe mention Jake Ferguson. He's kind of fringe, but you're probably starting him because, he's done really well. Now, as far as the starts go, I've got 3 players here. I got Juwan Johnson for the Saints. Love this matchup for Juwan Johnson. And let's be honest, Juwan Johnson has done a really good job so far because he's a player that even I wasn't sure about how to utilize him coming into the season. But right now he has plenty of opportunities. There's one player I do like. And you look at the matchup between the Saints and the Seahawks. The Seahawks have actually allowed a decent amount of points to the tight end position. So again, if you're looking between what Rattler's going to be confident in. The Seahawks allow the most points to the tight end position. And I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities and targets his way. So I feel really confident about this Juwan Johnson pick this week as far as a start. He's probably still even available out there in some of the waivers. Again, not everyone's picked him up after week 1, but he's had plenty of opportunities. He's had plenty of targets. And again, based off the matchup, you're looking between, the Saints and the Seahawks, there are going to be opportunities that he's going to get thrown to his way. So I really, like I said, I feel really good about this one. And he's right now tight end 3. I mean, look at the targets. He's had 11 targets week 1, 9 targets week 2. He finally scored last week. So again, the opportunity is there. I absolutely love it. I'm putting him in my lineup very confidently. I also have Kyle Pitts in this one. Kyle Pitts actually a really good week 1, right? Not so great week 2. He's tight end 11 currently going into week 3 of the NFL. But I still think I feel really good about it, right? Panthers are allowing the 3rd most points to the tight end position. I do think where Drake London is struggling, Kyle Pitts is actually going to have some success in this one. I think they're going to allow the opportunity in the middle, across the middle, and I think he's going to get probably 8 targets or so his this week. He may even score, which I would love to see happen. But I just feel target-wise, he's going to get you 15 points in this game. I think he finishes top 10. I like this matchup for Kyle Pitts. And the last tight end is going to be Harold Fannin Jr. You could also put David Njoku here. I actually like that as well. But Harold Fannin Jr. is the tight end that no one thought or saw coming. He's actually playing better than David Njoku. He's getting plenty of targets his way. He's tight end 9 right now. And if you're looking at the targets, he's got about 14 targets in 2 games. And the matchup that they have, when you're talking the Browns and Packers, the Packers defense is amazing. But one thing they do are susceptible to is the tight end position. They allow the 6th most points to the tight end position right now in fantasy. So for me, their pass rush is amazing, and I think the ball's going to go out quickly, which means Flacco's going to target both Njoku and Fannin because he's not looking to go beyond 10 yards. Like it's going to be a 5 to 8 yard type of passing option, just because the pass rush is so strong for Green Bay. So with that said, I really like the Harold Fanning or, like I said, David Njoku this week. Now, as far as the sits go, Ja'Tavion Sanders. I know a lot of people probably aren't starting him, but he's actually done really well this season. I felt like Carolina may have to use him just because, again, the pass rush is getting a little bit better in Atlanta. I think Bryce Young's going to have to be scrambling around a little bit, and maybe he looks for Sanders. But this is a really tough matchup. If you got to give credit to the Falcons, they've actually done a really good job against the tight end position. They've allowed the least amount of points. They've actually allowed only, I think 2 receptions all season. Like it's crazy how good they are against the tight end position so far. And I get it. It's 2 weeks in, so it's a little bit tough. You got to kind of figure things out. But with that said, Sanders is one I'm not going to put in. If you're in a deep league, you're probably starting him, but I'm going to sit him. Brenton Strange for the Jaguars. Strange has actually done a pretty good job so far this season, kind of taking over the old Evan Ingram role. Right now he's tight end 19, so again, you're probably not starting him, but he's had plenty of targets. I mean, he had 5 targets last week, he had 4 targets the week before, so that's kind of where his range is at. But then the matchup's really tough. Again, against the Texans are actually really good against the tight end, only allowing the 3 fewest points to the tight end position. Even though I, again, love, like I said, Brian Thomas Jr., don't love tight end Strange this week. A little bit tough matchup. And the last tight end I'm going to mention is a sit. It's going to be Zach Ertz. Ertz has played really well. And I get why it might be hard to sit him. He's tight end 4 right now. Realistically, the matchup, if you're looking between those two, teams between the Commanders and the Vegas Raiders, Vegas actually 4th least amount of points to the tight end position. And so for me, maybe because you've got Mariota in, Zach Ertz still has some value, but I actually think Jaden Daniels was actually the reason why Zach Ertz had some value. So I would look to maybe another tight end that you could pick up possibly this week that might actually be a better fill-in, just because, again, I do have some concerns and hesitation with that matchup. So again, these are my start sits. These are players that I really feel really good about, or I feel like there's a red flag to. So if you guys do have questions, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know if you have any lineup questions. Let me know if you have any trade questions, anything fantasy related. I am here to help you guys out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like button as well. I really, really appreciate it. Helps the channel out a lot. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Obviously, we'll be getting waivers out, possibly late Sunday night or early Monday morning to help you guys get a leg up on the competition. And of course, all the start and sit videos for the week. So again, subscribe, like, and I'll check you guys out next time.